meal prepping. Healthy, easy, vegan bento boxes. Keep watching to see how. First things first, guys, we've got ourselves a little reusable lunch tote here, a little bento box. It's really nice. It has all these little compartments and lids so sauces don't get funky, and it even has a little freezer gel inside that teal compartment. So pick this up at our local Smith's. I got a couple of them so I can prep throughout the week. They're really awesome and they save on waste. So to get started, we're going to make a hummus sandwich with gluten-free bread. I've toasted the bread here, and I made this hummus yesterday. I make it in batches about once a week. I will link below a video that shows how to make a super simple hummus and also a really simple and yummy baba ganoush. You can obviously buy these at the store too if you don't have the time, but it's a really easy recipe. And I think I just found a giant chunk of garlic that I'm picking out there. So that's how you know it's homemade. So we got our hummus spread pretty generously on there. It's going to give us some protein from the chickpeas. I'm then going to layer on, these are all veggies of your choice, but what I chose to use today are sliced cucumbers, sliced red onion, some kale from my garden, and some tomatoes from my garden as well. And then a bit of avocado because that adds to the creamy factor, and you get ourselves some healthy fats in there. So once we've got our toppings layered on, sometimes I believe in this one, yes, I'm putting a little bit of hummus in between to use kind of as a glue. And forgive me, this angle, I gotta work on my angles here. You can only see part of the sandwich. I promise you'll see more in a moment. Now I'm just adding the avocado and I'm gonna smush it together, cutting it in half. And that's going to be our main course for our lunch today. Okay, we've got a beautiful, creamy, full of veggie and nutrient, gluten-free sandwich right here. I'm just gonna cut it in half and stick it in our little bento box bottom, so we're good to go. The nice thing about these boxes and prepping these meals ahead of time is it really helps me with portion control. I can eat and eat and eat with no problem, so if I've got it portioned out for myself for the day, I am much more likely to eat a lot better. So we've got that ready, and moving on to side items. These are so cool. I just discovered that you can actually pop sorghum grains, and they are so cool. It actually has 11 grams of protein per serving, which is about a half a cup, and more antioxidants than blueberries, which is crazy. So you just pop them like you would popcorn. I've got 2 tablespoons of olive oil in a hot, very old looking pan here. I'm just gonna get it nice and warm on medium and add those sorghum little seeds here. I'll show you what they look like in just a moment. A tip that I've got is you want to not overload your pan. You just want 1 layer of the sorghum on there so they get enough heat to pop, because they don't pop quite as much as popcorn. Cool thing is though, you can still eat the seeds and they're nice and crunchy and nutty and not really hard. So super yummy. We're just going to stir it around, put a lid on, let them pop on up. About 80% of the seeds tend to pop when you do this, so keep the seeds though. They taste really good, I promise. Full of protein and nutrients. So now we're starting to pop. This whole process takes about 5 to 7 minutes. It's fairly quick. Then you can keep these on hand for snacks or for a movie later. Okay, once we're nice and popped up here, I'm going to just add a bit of pink Himalayan sea salt, and we are good to go. You can save this for a movie night or add it to your lunches. It's just so yummy. Next, I've got a little stovetop granola I made with some cashews and almonds, dried cherries, chia seeds, and hemp seeds. I added a bit of coconut oil and toasted them up, and then binded it all together with about a teaspoon of honey from my hive. You can also use agave if you want it to be vegan. And then I've got a local plum here that I've cut up, and we are set with bento box number 1. Super healthy, really easy, incredibly satisfying. So now let's move on to box number 2. Okay, box number 2, we are going to start with some delicious Thai spring rolls that are made with kelp noodles. This is what they look like right here. They're nice and compact. You can take them on the go really easily. You don't need silverware. So I have got some kelp noodles that I've soaked for a couple hours, and I'm going to add some bean sprouts to these. I've got a recipe for these Thai kelp noodles on my channel. I will link it below if you want a more in-depth way to make this, as well as this delicious almond Thai serrano sauce. It's really, really yummy. I'm just going to mix about half of that in there, get it all stirred up, and once we're stirred up, we're going to assemble our little rice paper rolls. It's really easy, really fun. Okay, we are just about mixed up here. So what I'm going to do is take these rice papers. You can just find them in your local grocery store. They're usually in the Asian section. This is what they look like. We just need to rehydrate them so we can roll them up like a burrito. So I'm just dunking them in a plate full of warm water. The trick here is to not soak them for too long. The longer you soak them, the more sticky they become. So there's a little bit of a learning curve, but I'd say about 30 seconds max. If you do it just before you think it's done, it's perfect because they will soften up as you add the rest of the ingredients. So I'm just prepping my kelp noodles here. Kelp noodles are so good for you. They're really low calorie, and they have just a really satisfying crunch. And this is a perfect way to eat noodles in a lunchbox because you don't need a fork. So see how you can barely move it around here? It looks like it needs a couple more minutes. That's when I'm going to pull it because it'll continue to absorb while I'm adding these ingredients. So I'm adding my mixture here of kelp noodles, bean sprouts, and sauce. And then some kale from my garden. The sky's really the limit here. You can add just about anything you like. Today I'm doing kale, like I said, some baby tomatoes from my garden, some red onion, and some cucumber. Carrots and cilantro also go super, super well. Then I'm going to add a bit of the sauce to give a little bit more creamy factor and a bit of spice. And then I've just really roughly chopped some almonds. Goes really well with the sauce flavors and gives you some crunch. Then we're gonna literally wrap it like a burrito. So I'm going around once, and then pulling the sides in, folding the sides in, however you would say that, and trying to get it as tight as I can, and rolling it through. There you have it. So that's what they look like when they're done. Another tip, don't let them sit next to each other when you refrigerate them too badly because they will get very sticky, but the way we've got it in the bento box should work just fine. Then I've got some more of that hummus that I made, and some tomatoes from my garden, and some cucumbers. And now I am making a dessert here. Okay, JK, now I'm making the dessert. Sorry, that was a little bit early. So what we're doing now is I'm just cutting in half some large pitted dates. We're gonna make kind of like a raw vegan Snickers bar bite. It's really easy and really yummy. I'm just cutting these in half, and then I'm gonna take a raw almond. I'm gonna dunk it in a bit of almond butter and put it face down inside the little date half there, and we've got ourselves a little caramely, salty, chewy, crunchy bite. I'm also gonna add a couple squares of dark chocolate to the mix, and by my recommendation, I recommend that was a weird sentence. I recommend you take a little bite of the chocolate and then pop one of these bad boys in your mouth. Tastes just like candy, but it's actually nutritious, super cool. Give these a try, if not anything else. These are to die for. And this is the chocolate I'm using. It's the Endangered Species brand. Super dark chocolate. Also good for you, which is awesome. In small quantities. Quantities are typically my issue. I can eat healthy food, but I like to eat a lot of it. So this portioning is lovely. So that's bento box variation number 2. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope that you love these recipes and you give some of them a try or all of them a try. And I hope you have a healthy and lovely Wednesday. Cheers.